how to break addictions. The first is to make a decision to stop or extinguish that bad habit. Most of you have not made a decision to extinguish this bad habit, or how to break addictions. The first one is to make a decision. Now, you don't just make a decision to stop this bad habit, you also make a decision to quit or rid yourself of the temporary gratification this habit gives you. Imagine you're trying to quit video games, for example, and anytime you engage in this activity, you totally crush your opponent, and in that instance, your dopamine level is high. It gives you this feeling of reward and instant gratification that you're better, at least you're excelling at something. So if you want to quit these bad habits, for example, because it's taking a chunk of your time, obviously, inevitably seeping into your productivity, you spend more time playing video games because you get rewarded instantly for the activity as opposed to doing your homework or starting that business or whatever productive activity you're engaged in. So the first is not just make a decision to stop this habit, you also have to decide to forego the instant gratification or whatever system of reward that activity gives you. That's the first one. Once you understand this, you're halfway to breaking your addictions. The second is identify and extinguish all cues for these habits. What I mean by cues are signals and promptings. Say you want to quit porn, for instance. There are cues and signals that arouses these activities. For instance, if you stay up late, the likelihood that you engage in this activity is high. If you're out there, if you have tabs of thousands and thousands of females, you would jerk off to like an idiot. You're going to engage in the activity. If you're alone, you engage in this activity. So the first thing to do, since you've identified those cues for these bad habits, you do the inverse. Unfollow all baddies on Instagram. Stop being alone. Be around people. Disengage from every community and friends that you have who talk about or who engage in this activity. If you're around people who reinforces this habit, you're not going to stop. All I have said here would not be beneficial to you. So disengage from all communities that reinforce this bad habit. That's the second one. Identify and extinguish all cues. The third is, now that you've succeeded in identifying and extinguishing all cues, now you're left with a void. You're empty. And this is what most people don't understand. They spend 6 months in rehab and they return back to that environment only to relapse because in the past life you're so used to doing that activity, so there's nothing else to do other than to revert back. So replace this habit, this void, with a productive activity. Those time you spend around jerking off like a fool, like a, replace it with something productive, like listening to messages, positive messages like this, reading a book or podcast, anything that is productive and nudges you forward to your goal. That's if you have a goal. There's a whole lot we are going to talk about in future videos, but these three keys are sufficient for you to break out of any addiction. Pleasure speaking to you guys next time.